What's going on, guys? Bryce Toohey, aka Trader Bryce. We are back here. I know it's been a little bit since we've had a small cap recap, and you can kind of see why. We've got a studio again, baby. We're back, and so we're going to be doing these once a week, kind of as like a midweek update every Wednesday. Switching it from like a full-on recap to kind of recapping the beginning of the week and then moving into the rest of the week, kind of the themes that we're looking at. And just seeing what's looking good in the market here. But before we get into kind of, where we've already been so far this week and what I'm seeing in the market, I first, on behalf of everyone here at StocksToTrade, want to thank you guys for our 100,000 subscribers. This is really what makes it possible to be doing these videos, even here in the studio once a week. It's so amazing. And, we've got Tim Bohen, Matt Monaco. Sometimes, Matt, if you're watching this, you need to get back in the stew. But there's just so many people here, great team at StocksToTrade. But more importantly, just thank you guys so much for constantly supporting our content. It helps us keep us encouraged to want to make more all the time. Now, that out of the way, I want to get right on into this. So the beginning of the week so far for me, we're obviously today starting a new month of trading. We're back, we're into March, back into March, I guess. Hopefully better than 2022. Although March 2022, we did have that oil sector heat up, which would be fun if we could get another hot sector this month. Obviously, January, February was pretty hot. And so looking into this month for me now, I'll start off just kind of on my month outlook. The market is slowing down a little bit. There's still some really good movers, which some of them we're going to get into today here. But I don't really see a super hot sector like we had with AI. Even that naked short battle that lasted for like a week and a half of a sector. I don't see any of those kind of developing right now, but I think, in my opinion, one of the best ones to keep an eye on is still going to be that AI sector. And I'll show you that AI chart, literally AI. I think it's going to be a really good indicator of what happened with the rest of these AI stocks moving forward. But this week, I've definitely seen a couple themes that caught my eye. And I actually utilized those themes today to lock in about $4,000 on CDIO. So let's hop on over to some charts here, look kind of at what's been going on this week, and especially today, because for me, this is reaffirming that this action is real and predictable, and I think this is just a good theme to be looking on for the rest of the week. Should I do should they be able to see me when I'm doing the screen, or do I want to just do full screen? You and the screen, perfect. All right, let's do it. Let's hop on over here to the good old StocksToTrade. So this is just one that I saw today that I'm a little bit upset about here. GGAA, I was actually driving on over to the studio and I saw this popped up and consolidated in the 1250s. And I almost bought it in my car. And, I guess that actually would have worked as it went to 21 with a few halts after that. But the reason I'm showing you this GGAA is because it's actually a SPAC, right? This was a SPAC that got really hot, super low volume the other day, ran from 10 up to 27. Today it ran from 10 up to 21, having that bounce for no real reason. There was no seeming reason, no real news on it. However, if we go on over to HPX, we see kind of the same exact setup happening here where this brought the momentum. And in fact, this is exactly what GGAA looked like. I think it was last week. Very similar, right? So I'm thinking the HPX, the SPAC company with no real news out, just running on air, kind of sparked that GGAA momentum. And that's why I was even considering buying that consolidation in the 1250s, just because HPX was so similar to GGAA from last week. So I think it's good to just keep an eye on some of these like SPAC stocks that run up, get halted, and then consolidate a little bit. Because even down in this area here at like 29, there was that scalp opportunity. There was the opportunity here at 35. This ran up to 50. I mean, it's up 230% now as it's trying to fall off a cliff still. This was up about 500% at one point today. Now, I'm not saying, so GGAA, it looks like it's back opened again. So I'll take a look at that. These aren't easy to trade, right? These aren't necessarily the easiest ones to trade. And that's why I didn't even want to buy the 500 shares. But some telltale signs that we'll see in some of these SPAC stocks are these big spikes pre-market with no real rhyme or reason, indicating that there might be some potential range throughout the day. Obviously, that didn't happen on HPX. Just ran out of nowhere seemingly. And so in those cases, one, it's important to trade them with small size, and two, not be buying strength because, all it takes is one halt down. I mean, this was halted up at 36 and it opened back up at 24. Right, that would be a massive loss for no real reason. Of course, it did end up going back up to 50, but some of these are anomalies, and it's really important, in my opinion, to just stay cognizant of that. Now let's go on over to LHDX because I actually wanted to do CDIO right now, but to get a better understanding on the momentum that's happening this week. But for now, the imminent, like the main focus, I think, are just these day two moves that go red to green. And the red to green level is always, in my opinion, a great level to buy at, especially when day one, like on LHDX and CDIO, it closed underneath the open price. It makes your risk reward a lot better. We're essentially just kind of looking for those day one dojis, which is, what Gritani is taught in some of his content. We're looking for those day one dojis that just recover and go green. So I want to basically break down, right, exactly what I'm looking for in something like LHDX, which, inevitably, ideally leads to something like CDIO, especially in this market. First and foremost being LHDX, right? Take a look at how this opened up. So we have a stock that runs basically, it gaps up from 14 cents up to roughly 70 cents. It's up like 500%. Yet it hardly falls, right? And that's what I think is really important, is that we're holding the gap the whole time for the most part. We're almost treating this like a day one doji, right? And so we get this gap up and it does fade from open price, down from 70 cents to about 50. However, it's still so far above its previous gap. And we have this breakout here, which is extremely important in my eyes. We have a breakout. Now, LHDX did not break out over this the day it gapped up. It took the next day, which is why it probably had a little bit more limited of a move than something like CDIO had. So we're looking for these stocks that day one gap up and fade off, but still hold the gap relatively well. Day two, we need them to hold these support levels. LHDX barely broke under the day one low, and then from there ran. CDIO, very similar story here, where we have a previous a previous breakout from not that long ago, a week or two ago, a couple weeks ago. On day one, it did break that breakout level. Now, day two, this isn't loading here, but what I'm going to show you is this, where we're essentially getting that same thing, right? We're getting this. Let me just take off extended hours too, so you can see a little better. We have this gap hold all day, and what's so important are these wicks down here, right? And I'm going to explain why these wicks are extremely important. Because I want you to notice that the high of day was for pre-market high. Well, now I'll turn back on extended hours. We need to first look at the fact that every single person that shorted this pre-market, I don't care where you shorted, you were down on your money by the time the market opened. And by the time the market opened, the low of day was 290. Anyone in from under 290, from here to here, you would have had to add to maybe get in the money. You've had to increase your position size. And that's important because it's only a 6 million float. So if you're taking big positions on this, it's extremely tough when you're forced to add intraday. Okay? Now, I generally don't love wicks on day one. However, we never rebroke high day. $4 was high of day. Every wick that came back was from a low of day wicking back up. And so while we did have like these wicks here, they're all relatively holding support. And so then we get into today where shorts were always underwater. Longs were also kind of if you were buying tops on this, if you were buying like in here, you were down on your money. But every dip was soaked up. And even if you were buying here, 360, by the end of the day, it closed at 350. You didn't really have a reason to get out. If you hadn't gotten out on these, you weren't getting out here. Or maybe you were, but shorts were never getting to a spot where they were able to cover. And so then when I saw this morning, I actually got long originally at 323. And then I cut at 315 when we broke down here. However, we held $3 to a T, literally just bottomed out at $3, broke low a day, and instantly recovered once again. We saw those same practices, those same things we were seeing yesterday, the same exact patterns repeating themselves today. And so as soon as we broke here at 314, I started in, and then I added in right before we went green here at 341. Green on the day, which was very important level anyways, was this 330s level was kind of yesterday's original area of struggle. It was a previous breakout level, and from there, obviously it never looked back. So originally I sold the majority of my shares actually here at 360, and then I rebought this dip here. Those two areas got in another 2,000 shares, and sold up at $4.90 in this area. I did not end up retrading. It's now up at $8 after hours, which is sweet to see. Really good to see that this is kind of, the pattern that I'm seeing establishing itself in the market. And the fact that we're going into after hours right now as we speak, extremely strong, is really, really good. Moving forward into the rest of the week, Thursday and Friday, this pattern may continue itself. One that I want to kind of highlight is ONCS, potentially, where we got that same thing, this gap up, and it's just holding all of these levels. Low float, very low float, could be one to keep a good eye on tomorrow for another day two move. So keep an eye out for those. That's the hot sector, or the hot theme right now in this market. But anyways, I'm going to be done. I'm going to move this over here. And I just want to say thank you guys once more, seriously, for that 100K. I mean, everyone here at StocksToTrade has been working really hard to provide great content. I'm so happy to be a part of a team that's just so dedicated to not only, helping its internal team, but helping everyone that's been a part of it, the viewers. And for those of you that are in, some of our educational programs, we work really hard to make sure that you are learning the most as possible. And I'm just really stoked to be able to sit here and be able to do this for you guys. So thank you so much. We've got some really cool additions to the studio coming in the next few weeks too. We're in a brand new location. This is different than our old one. So we've got a lot of room to work with it now. And we're going to have some really cool little features coming on in over the next few videos. But again, guys, every Wednesday we're going to be here, unless something happens. But every Wednesday we'll plan on being here for the new kind of revamped small cap recap. And if there's any suggestions you guys have, drop these in the comments below. This is kind of, we're switching the style up. So if there's something that you want to see more of or less of, let us know down in the comments. But again, thank you so much. Make sure you're dropping those likes for us. Again, that helps us out a lot to keep growing and to keep moving forward. Make sure your post notifications are on too, obviously, so that you know when every new video is released. And if you aren't already, consider subscribing. Let's get to the million next. I know we're skipping a few 100,000 increments there, but let's get to the million. I know we are. I think personally, I believe that we're doing as best of a job as we can and just love helping you guys. So thank you so much. We're out with the outro once again. Let's do it. Run it, Andrew. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for being a part of the StocksToTrade family. We just hit 100,000 subscribers, but our goal by the end of this year is to get 150,000 new family members a part of our channel. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below, hit the subscribe button, and maybe even turn on your post notifications. We cannot do this without your guys' support. So thank you so much. And if you want to see more of what we're doing, again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment down below. We'll see you in the next video.